Okay, some big personnel change going on in the Air Force right now that I think the public needs to know. Okay? Um, First, we're going to start off by introducing you to what's going on, and then we're going to talk about how the Air Force is planning on implementing these changes. And then third, we're going to talk about how it's affecting the military members. So let's start off by introducing what we're facing. In December of 2013, the U.S. Congress decided that, or mandated that the United States Air Force needs to be downsized by 25,000 people. That came to a big shock. The once almost guaranteed 20-year career is kind of getting pulled from under our feet. So to make matters worse, the Air Force decided to do all this in 1 year instead of 5 years that Congress originally planned. So it came to a big shock a lot of the Air Force members. But the Air Force had a plan. To quote General Wells, Chief of Staff of the Air Force, "We will implement a number of force management programs to meet our goal." So what this basically means is the Air Force is going to give our airmen a chance to voluntarily separate under certain terms. There's a couple programs out there. First one is TIRA, which is a temporary early retirement, and the second one is voluntary separation pay. The Air Force's goal was to get enough people out with these voluntary programs so the Air Force wouldn't have to make these big changes and make these big decisions concerning Air Force members and their families. So to quote the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, James Cody, "We would like to execute these all through volunteers. We would like to not have to run any types of boards at all if enough airmen volunteer to leave." Unfortunately, they did not have nearly enough to volunteer because they realized that our Air Force members are so indebted into the system and they love their jobs that the Air Force is going to have to make them leave before they give up their careers. So the second step of this part was to go to a retention board. And what that basically means is that all of the eligible personnel that are required, mandated to leave the Air Force is going to go up onto a board. What that consists of is basically a piece of paper that has 3 bullet statements that consolidates the last 10 years of your career. So along with that, your commander or their commander will finish a piece of paper that says to retain, do not retain, or consider. And along with that recommendation, he's also going to rank 1 through however many personnel that you rank in that system. So if I was number 1 of 35 personnel, I would be the top person, and he would put a number 1 on there. So once all this is consolidated and put into a package, it's going to be sent up to a board of about 4 or 5 very high-ranking personnel. That's basically going to rack and stack each person, 25,000 people, so minus the people that volunteered, and basically find out who's the best out of all these people and who they want to retain. So this is just a snapshot of what our airmen are going through right now. So quoting Eric Fanning, Acting Secretary of the Air Force, "We know these programs are unsettling to many airmen and their families, but they are necessary to ensure that our Air Force remains the best in the world." Unsettling is really not the strongest word that they could use. Imagine you not knowing if you're going to have a job in 4 years, where you're going to live in 4 years. Imagine somebody's judging you that you don't know, that you never met, and is basically making a determination on if you can stay or if you're going to go. Next, imagine that your boss told you, do not make any plans or sign any contracts to help your future because you don't know if you're going to have a job or not. Also, make sure to understand that they're also telling their airmen to please don't worry about this because you have a job to do right now and we expect you to do it to the fullest of your capability. So try to put that on the side. So as you can tell just by listening to me, there's a lot of hesitation that's going out through the Air Force. So to wrap all this up, we spoke a little bit about the United States and how we're going to be reducing the numbers by 25% or 25,000 throughout the first year that this is going on. We also talked a little bit about how the Air Force is going to manage to do this with voluntary and involuntary programs. And finally, we talked a little bit about how this is going to affect the personnel and their family on a personal level. So thank you for showing up and eating your candy while you listen to my speech, and I appreciate you coming. Thank you very much.